There is kind of a double-edged sword when it comes to the NHL and its divisional format that it's going to undertake for the 2020-2021 season. And in this video, we're talking about another one of my favorite teams over here in the Detroit Red Wings. The team who, if you've been following this YouTube channel, you know we've said it a ton. They have been the worst NHL team in the salary cap era, a terrible record last year, one of the worst teams we have seen of all time, and for the most part, there's only really up to go, right? When it comes to the Red Wings, there isn't really anywhere they can go in terms of the down direction, because when it comes to experiencing the worst, I guess you could argue that they have already experienced that. And even though they're in a position where you could definitely say, yes, the Red Wings are going to win more games than they did last season, the Red Wings in 2021 are going to be better than they were in 2020, there still is a debate to be made as to whether or not they're going to finish last in the league. So, before we head into today's topic, big thank you to everybody out there who commented Jeff Hardy in the previous Red Wings video. Getting up with the system here, if you want a chance to be featured in the next Red Wings video, make sure you stick around to the very end for the comment question of the day, and then you can comment down below for a chance to be featured. But today we're talking about the Red Wings, and we're asking a simple question. Are they going to finish last again? And when it comes to the way this Red Wings team is assembled, it would be easy to say no. It'd be easy to say, okay, out of 31 NHL teams, is it possible for the Red Wings to finish last place 2 years in a row? Because if you take a look at what the Red Wings were able to accomplish in this 2019-2020 NHL season, well, they were dead last. 17 wins in 71 games. They had 39 points in 71 games. If you do the math on that, what is 39 divided by what the total points could have been? So that would be 71 multiplied by 2, put the bracket on that, yeah, a .274 win percentage. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. The benchmark for at least being in playoff contention is a .5 points percentage, and the Red Wings were just so bad that they didn't even crack .4, .3 actually, yeah, they weren't good. But the reason I opened up this video by talking about the divisions is because when you take a look at how these divisions are going to be played, they are all going to be intra-divisional play only. So each team will play a 56-game schedule and face teams only in its division during the regular season. And then if you take a look at what the other tweets were saying, hey, it's the top 4 teams in each of the divisions that will make up the playoffs, and then you have a 1-4-2-3 performance between each of these divisions, and then the final 4 teams, the winners of each division, will play each other in the normal Stanley Cup semifinals of the playoffs. So we're not going to see any Canadian versus American games until the third round of the playoffs, and then we might not even see one in the finals if the Canadian team that escapes the Canadian division gets eliminated by whichever American team they're playing in the third round. But for the Red Wings, this makes things a lot more complicated, because the way this division is going to shape up, the Red Wings are playing in the Central with the Carolina Hurricanes, the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, the Stars, the Panthers, the Preds, and the Bolts. When it comes to this division specifically, I don't know if there's any real question in thinking about the Detroit Red Wings finishing anything above last, because, come on, who are they going to beat? I love my Red Wings, don't get me wrong. But is this Detroit Red Wings team finishing above the Carolina Hurricanes in 2021? The Chicago Blackhawks, who, albeit they got worse, but they acquired guys like Nikita Zadorov, and hey, who knows what Kirby Dach is going to be able to do out there with another year of development time under his belt. The Blue Jackets are in a spot where they're probably going to at least try to use some of that extra money they have, because they do have it, and it was revealed earlier that Jarmo Kekalainen is open to using that money effectively. The Dallas Stars recently made the Stanley Cup final, so yeah. Sergei Bobrovsky is looking for a huge bounce-back year in the Florida Panthers system, and sure, they lost Mike Hoffman, but they got Duclair, so I don't want to say that they're going to be extraordinarily worse than where they were last season. The Predators now, the Preds are probably the only team on this list that I think might actually have a chance at finishing last behind Detroit, and then the Tampa Bay Lightning, of course, they're the Tampa Bay Lightning, they won the Cup. But for Detroit, they did indeed get better. I definitely don't want to discredit the fact that Bobby Ryan, Troy Stecher, John Merrill, Thomas Greiss, these guys are upgrades over what we saw last year. Now, whether or not that's enough of an upgrade to push them over one of these teams here in the Central is beyond me. But if they did finish last in the Central, I certainly wouldn't be surprised. Now, the reason I say it's very possible for them to even finish last in the league, too, is not just because of the Central, but because of the way this league is shaped up. The way the other divisions are played out, you have some of the other worst teams in the league in 2020, in the Anaheim Ducks, the LA Kings, and the San Jose Sharks, all playing each other in the West. These guys are only going to play each other. So, sure, they might lose all the games they play against Vegas, Colorado, and St. Louis, but the Ducks, the Kings, and the Sharks are all going to be playing each other so much that it's going to be difficult for them to not get points because by default you play each other a whole bunch of times. Some of y'all are going to get points. Same thing could be said about the Buffalo Sabres and the Devils in the East. Now, they're going to be playing each other, I get that, and the Sabres did indeed kind of get the short end of the stick because Jack Eichel's ultimate goal was to finally make the playoffs and actually do stuff. They tried to push themselves in that direction with the Eric Stahls, the Cody Eakins, and the Taylor Halls, but playing against Boston, New York, Philly, Pittsburgh, and Washington, oof, that's going to be tough. As for the Devils, hey, I want Jack Hughes to be better, man. This guy is due for a breakout year that is actually a breakout year. And when it comes to the other teams that could be deemed less than ideal in this division, hey, the Rangers are adding Lafreniere, so yeah. Also, the Penguins are adding Cody Ceci, so yeah. Definitely huge additions over there. I'm joking about that last one, by the way, but the Penguins do indeed have a new Kasperi Kapanen that they might be very generous with when it comes to his overall disposition in the lineup. And then the Philadelphia Flyers, of course, they're the Flyers. They're a good team. They were the best team out of all the return-to-play round-robin teams in the Eastern Conference in last year's playoffs, or at least this previous year's playoffs. The only other one in the league that I actually think does have a pretty legit chance at finishing last is the Ottawa Senators, and it's again partly because of the divisions. Because Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, Winnipeg are all very, honestly, pretty capable NHL teams that can win games when they want to. So the fact is, it's going to be super competitive over here in Canada. We don't really have any guarantees as to who's going to be 1, 2, or 3. It's only really 7th that we kind of know is going to be Ottawa. And the fact is, the Sens are in a position where they kind of have this curse because they're only going to be playing other Canadian teams that are going to be super competitive, and who knows, maybe the fact that Eugene Melnyk is saying, yeah, I think this team can win a cup today because of all the additions they have. Eric Branson is over here. You have Matt Murray in net. You have Tim Stützle on the wing. You have Evgeny Dadonov and Alex Galchenyuk over here too. I know the Red Wings did improve as well in terms of their offseason acquisitions, but man, the Sens have better acquisitions, I would just say that myself. Tim Stützle is making the team. Lucas Raymond is not. You could debate that Detroit's Thomas Greiss is better than Ottawa's Matt Murray, but if Matt Murray is able to become playoff Stanley Cup Finals, Stanley Cup winning Matt Murray again, that could be huge. Evgeny Dadonov is a better point producer than all the other guys the Red Wings got. Sure, I love Troy Stecher and I love the comeback story of Bobby Ryan, but the Sens, just in my opinion, had better acquisitions. So I would not be surprised in the slightest if the end of the season comes and Detroit is still last. I wouldn't like for that to happen. Obviously, I'm a fan of this Red Wings team. I want to see this team that I like do well. But the makeup of the other divisions, the fact that the other worst teams in the league are going to be playing against each other in California again and again and again, some of them are going to get points. The fact that Ottawa actually did improve their team, in my opinion at least, to a much higher magnitude than Detroit did in this most recent offseason is noteworthy to me. And even though they are playing in a super competitive Canadian division, I still do think there's a lot to gain here from the acquisitions they made. As for the other guys, Buffalo and New Jersey, Buffalo got significantly better. New Jersey's in a spot where we need to see breakout years from Jack Hughes, maybe a bounce back year from PK Subban. If they can do that, then that would be the absolute worst case scenario here for all the other teams in that division. So, for the Red Wings, when they're in a position where they were the last team in the league last year, playing against every team, and now this year they're playing against Chicago, Columbus, Dallas, Carolina, Florida, Nashville, and Tampa every game, I wouldn't be surprised if they were last. So, if you agree with this overall sentiment, then feel free to comment in the comment section below whether or not I'm right, I'm wrong, whatever. Also, if you made it to the end of this video, comment down in the comment section below calculus. Because we're talking about divisions a whole bunch, man. Let's talk about some other math stuff, multiplication, brackets, x, e, and all the other great stuff that comes in between. So comment down in the comment section below if you made it to the end for a chance to be featured in the next Red Wings video, calculus. Hope you enjoyed this video. Social Trolls 99, and bye.